This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. In celebration of April 27th, Morse Code Day, dots and dashes, short and long, a language built both clear and strong. On April 27th, we give our praise to Samuel Morse and his brilliant ways. Born in 1791, this man of might gave voices to pulses, sound to light. Across the wires his signal flew, bringing distant hearts anew. A simple code, but world-renowned, messages sent without a sound. From ship to shore, from heart to heart, Morse made connection a living art. So here's to the man who shaped the day, whose dots and dashes still convey that even in silence words can soar, thanks to Samuel Morse and his lasting lore. Thanks to Mark Waldrop, KE4WA, for this great prose. The Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club had the privilege to tour the Voice of America Museum thanks to the Westchester Amateur Radio Club. 19 NKARC members got a private tour of the newly renovated Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. This is definitely a must-see for any radio enthusiast or history buff. The role of radio in the past century, and specifically the role of the Voice America Bethany Relay Station in Westchester, Ohio, had on the last 75 years is simply amazing, and it is all documented and shown in numerous displays. The importance of this facility on how we, the United States, got through some perilous times thanks to the dissemination of truthful information by this station is shown in many of the exhibits. Vintage radio equipment and ham radio equipment, and the importance of broadcast radio in Cincinnati can also be seen. The $10 admission is certainly a great deal. And now the Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting, in conjunction with the Westchester Amateur Radio Association, has announced expanded hours for the 2025 Dayton Hamvention for the Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. It'll be open on Thursday, May 15th, Friday, May 16th, and Saturday, May 17th from noon to 9 p.m., and on Sunday, May 18th from noon to 5 p.m. Admission is $10, and the WC8VOA amateur radio station will be on the air to operate. For more information, see voamuseum.org or WC8VOA.org. There is a new ARRL card checker in Western Kentucky. Paul, ND4X, from Marshall County, has been approved as an ARRL card checker. He is filling the vacancy left by Ed. AB4IQ, who is now a silent key. We lost another great ham. Terry Sherlin Sr., K4TND, has become a silent key. Terry was first licensed in 1976 and held call signs of WN4UXA, WB4UXA, KE4JF, and finally K4TND. Terry held an extra class license. According to the July 1976 Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club Feedline newsletter, Terry became a member of the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club in June of 1976. It is believed that Terry held several offices in the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club in the late 70s and 80s, including president. However, the official records are missing. Terry's son, Terry Sherlin Jr., is also a ham, N4IXF, and lives in Hebron, Kentucky. Terry was often heard on the 146.79 repeater and was a longtime neighbor of Reggie, W4JU. We miss you, Terry. K4TND, 73, my friend. The 2025 Kentucky QSO Party is quickly approaching, sponsored by the Kentucky Contest Group. It is always held on the first Saturday in June from 1300 hours UTC on June 7th to 0100 hours UTC on June the 8th, which is 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, June 7th. So you can help put Kentucky front and center on the HF bands by activating your station and county. You might consider operating multi-operator station at a well-equipped station, or for POTA folks, select some parks that you could easily activate throughout the day. Spread the word throughout your ham radio friends, and especially to the many clubs across the Commonwealth. Let's make the Commonwealth radioactive. I hope to see all of you on the air. For more information, go to kyqsoparty.org. The application period for Youth on the Air Junior 2025 is open until June 1st. For young hams under the age of 15 years of age accompanied by a parent, the Yoda Junior is a 3-day weekend camp for young hams to meet other young hams, participate in unique experiences with radio-related technologies, and build relationship with mentors and peers. To apply, go to youthontheair.org/JRCampApply. May 4th is the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club monthly Simplex Net on 146.580 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which is always held on the first Sunday of the month. They invite any licensed amateur radio operator to join them by checking in. Perhaps you cannot hear the net control station at your location. Well, no problem. Just listen and eventually you'll be hear a station who will take your check-in and relay it into net control. The net starts by stations who can hear net control. Then each of those stations put out calls and take check-ins from those stations who can hear them but can't hear net control. Then the next set of check-ins will be asked to put out calls and take check-ins for stations that can hear them. After the net, you then post who you're able to hear in your net report on the nkarcgroups.io page. It is an effective way to test your equipment and to learn how to use your equipment if something happened to the repeaters and they're off the air. It's also a great training opportunity. So the first Sunday night of the month at 6 p.m., tune that radio to 146.580 and join the net. A pro tip is to turn your squelch off. You'll hear more stations that way. The Okayan Amateur Radio Society will be meeting on May 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Lockland Church in the Nazarene, 335 West Wyoming Avenue in Lockland, Ohio. Interested in learning what the Parks on the Air event is all about? Or maybe HF Radio? Well, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold a Parks on the Air event on May 10th at the Big Bone Lick State Historic Site, US 3779 in Big Bone, Kentucky. If you're interested in ham radio, HF Radio, or Parks on the Air, come on out and join the fun and check out what all this Parks on the Air stuff is all about. The Brunch Bunch will be meeting on May 10th at 1 p.m. at the Santorini Family Restaurant, 3414 Harrison Avenue in Cheviot, Ohio. Are you a ham radio operator between the age of 11 and 21 and interested in going to the Dayton Hamvention? Well, you can sign up for the ARRL Youth Rally at the Dayton Hamvention this year, which is an amazing event which provides a number of hands-on activities for young hams. There'll be an on-air sprint, contacts with a parachute mobile station, a kit-building exercise in the youth lounge, and a fox hunt. Advanced registration is recommended. For more information, go to ARRL 2025 Youth Rally Registration on ARRL.org. The Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association is inviting clubs to participate in their Northeast Ohio Multi-Club Parks on the Air POTA event on Saturday, May 31st, 2025. This event is geared to promote ham radio, your club, and Parks on the Air, and to encourage club collaboration. It's not only fun, but easy to do as well. For all the information or to sign up for the event, go to w8wky.org/NEO-POTA. If your club is interested in participating, please contact Josh Van Dyke at KE8VKA@gmail.com. Do you know what a radiogram is or how to send one? Well, on June 2nd at 7 p.m., the Amateur Radio Emergency Team in Northern Kentucky, meeting at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky, will have Al, WB8RGE, doing a presentation with some hands-on on how to send and handle a radiogram. So come on out to the meeting and learn how to handle amateur radio traffic. You never know when you may be needed to handle a radiogram, so this training is applicable to all ham radio operators. The MS Bike Ride will be held on June 14th and 15th, 2025 at my old Kentucky home state park, 501 East Stephen Foster Avenue, and they'll be looking for amateur radio operators to volunteer to keep communications flowing over the 25 to 60 mile route, checking on riders, assisting the MS staff, providing support for the bikers with water and transportation or aid as needed. You can sign up for full or partial shifts and will be fully briefed on your assignment and responsibilities. You'll need to have a mobile dual band radio or at least a dual band handheld radio with enough battery power to carry you throughout your shift. If you're interested, email kg2des@outlook.com and copy nf8d@gmail.com with your call sign, phone number, email address, and what days and times you could work. June 15th is VHF Activity Day, designed primarily to engage those technician operators to experience simplex operation on 146 MHz, 223, and 446 MHz bands. So get that VHF UHF station set up and have some radio fun. It's time to get ready for the ARRL Summer Field Day on June 28th and 29th. The Okayan Amateur Radio Society is already planning their field day operations to be back at the Mitchell Memorial Forest location, planning on setting up their 5-station event on Friday at 2 p.m. They're planning solar, satellite, digital, NTS, and operations, among other exciting AM radio events. The Get on the Air station will be active in getting new operators and those thinking about AM radio on the air. For more information or to volunteer to help, contact Field Day Chairman Eric, N8YC at N8YC123@gmail.com. Paddle Fest will be held on the weekend of August 2nd, and looking for some amateur radio volunteers to assist in managing and deploying FRS radios to be used during this year's event. If you would like to volunteer to help out, please contact Rick Halderman, KD4PYR at KD4PYR@fuse.net.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Hamfest.
On May 10th through May 15th is the RV Radio Network Rally at the Baylor Beach Park, 8777 Manchester Avenue Southwest in Navarro, Ohio. Talk in on 146.52 Simplex. Tickets are now on sale for the Dayton Hamvention, May 16th, 17th, and 18th, 2025 at the Greene County Fairgrounds in Xenia, Ohio. The 2025 theme is Radio Independence, celebrating the evolution and freedom of radio in today's world. For more information, go to hamvention.org. June 7th is the FCARC Summer Hamfest from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Delta American Legion Post 373 on the corner of Ohio 109 and County Road F5939 in Delta, Ohio. August 9th is the Cincinnati Hamfest, sponsored by the Milford Amateur Radio Club at the Claremont County Fairgrounds in Owensville, Ohio. For more information, go to milfordhamradio.org. On August 9th is the Letcher County Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the Mountain Shrine Club, 95 Maryland Drive in Whitesburg, Kentucky, from 8 a.m. to noon. They're already amassing a nice stash of door prizes from some great name brand sponsors. For more information, contact Roland Brown, AF4Y at AF4Y@REBROWN.org.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On May 3rd, the Dial Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at 6 p.m. at 3806 Manchester Road in Middletown, Ohio. Pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions. On May 3rd at 10 a.m., the Northern Ohio Amateur Radio Society will host an amateur radio exam session at Fairview Park Public Library, 21255 Lorraine Road in Fairview Park, Ohio. Walk-ins are welcome. Call 216-337-4235 for more information. On May 3rd at 10 a.m., the Crooked River Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio testing session at the Oak Hill Presbyterian Church, 2406 Ardwell Avenue in Akron, Ohio. You must pre-register by emailing GERUTRETIRED@gmail.com or call 330-786-8058. On May 10th at 10 a.m., the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Cuyahoga Falls Public Library, 2025 2nd Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. You must pre-register by emailing education@cfarc.org or call 330-929-8921. On May 10th at 10 a.m., there'll be an amateur radio exam session at the American Red Cross, 1450 Newtown Pike in Lexington, Kentucky. Contact Fernie, KE4MAI, at 859-536-3393. On May 11th at 9:15 a.m., the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Old Elmwood Recreation Center, 6200 Winooski Parkway in Independence, Ohio. Walk-ins are allowed. For more information, email metro351@sbcglobal.net or call 216-520-1320. On May 19th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by emailing Mark Volstead, AI4BJ, at MVOLSTAD@TWSC.com. On June 10th, the Stubblefield Repeater Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at 200 Alpine Drive in Shelbyville, Kentucky. For more information, contact Cecil Harden, K5CPT, at 502-712-3400. On June 12th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH at K8WEH@ARRL.net or on the K8GE.net website. On Saturday, June 14th at 10 a.m., there'll be a W5YI amateur radio exam session at the Georgetown Police Department, 550 Bourbon Street in Georgetown, Kentucky. For information, contact Ron Malinowski at 502-542-8252. On August 14th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH at K8WEH@ARRL.net or check in on the K8GE.net website. On October the 9th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH at K8WEH@ARRL.net or on the K8GE.net website. On December 11th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH at K8WEH@ARRL.net or on the K8GE.net website. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KE4WA, KY6MM, W8WTD, WX4GPS, KN4COE, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area, this is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.